Let's start with first news. Joe Rogan is once again defending Tom Aspinall following the eye poke situation that left the heavyweight contender dealing with serious vision problems. This time, Rogan is calling for a new UFC rule that could completely change how fighters approach eye pokes. During the discussion, Rogan explained that the incident was clearly a foul, even though the situation became controversial. According to Rogan, when a fighter cannot properly see out of one eye, they are placed at a massive disadvantage. In the middle of a wild exchange, fighters rely heavily on their peripheral vision to react to incoming strikes, avoid attacks, and protect themselves. If one eye is damaged or blocked, that reaction time can disappear. A fighter might not see a punch, kick, or other attack coming, potentially leading to a serious knockout or even worse injuries. Rogan strongly believes Tom did the right thing by refusing to continue when he could not safely see. He also feels that Tom deserved much more support from everyone following the incident. But Rogan didn't stop there. He suggested a simple punishment that could make fighters think twice before putting their fingers anywhere near an opponent's eyes. His proposal? A 1-point deduction every single time a fighter touches another fighter's eye. Rogan believes that if fighters immediately lost a point for every eye poke, they would have a much stronger reason to keep their fingers away from their opponent's face. The punishment could potentially discourage accidental or careless eye contact during exchanges and make the sport safer. Rogan also mentioned that Tom appears to be doing better now, but he's clearly concerned about his future after undergoing 2 eye surgeries. For a fighter at the highest level, recovering from one serious eye injury is difficult enough. Going through 2 surgeries makes the situation even more concerning. Rogan is now hoping Tom can make a full recovery and return to competition later this year. Move on to another news. Ilia could be facing a new lightweight contender next, and the buzz surrounding Quillan Salkild has made this matchup a very interesting possibility. Salkild is coming off a ridiculously impressive victory over Mateusz Gamrot, and his performance has fans and fighters debating who should be next for the rising lightweight. Salkild was already considered the favorite heading into the fight, but very few people expected him to submit Gamrot, especially considering Gamrot's reputation as one of the best grapplers at 155 pounds. After such a dominant victory, there's no question that Salkild deserves another major lightweight opponent. And now, one interesting name has entered the conversation: Ilia. During a recent episode of the Anik and Florian podcast, producer R.J. Clifford explained why he believes a fight between Ilia and Salkild could make sense. The idea is simple. Ilia has already proven himself against elite competition, while Salkild is becoming one of the most dangerous new names in the division. If Salkild could do to Ilia what he has done to his previous opponents, it could instantly establish him as a legitimate title contender. The matchup would also give Ilia a fresh challenge against a less experienced fighter who is rapidly making a name for himself. However, there is another fight that appears to be much more likely. The discussion quickly turned toward a potential Ilia versus Paddy Pimblett matchup. According to the panel, all the signs are pointing toward that fight happening, especially because of the massive business it could generate. Ilia has already defeated elite opposition, while Paddy has built a huge following and continues to rise through the lightweight rankings. With Ilia, Paddy, and Salkild all becoming major names at 155 pounds, there are plenty of exciting possibilities. A Salkild matchup looks incredibly dangerous on paper, but right now, Ilia versus Paddy appears to be the fight with the biggest potential. Move on to another news. Garry has opened up about the massive amount of hate he receives online, but according to him, most of that negativity is completely fake and exists only on social media. Garry explained that while fans constantly criticize him, make jokes about him, and leave negative comments online, his real-life experiences are completely different. In fact, he claims that whenever he meets people in person, he is treated with nothing but friendliness and respect. According to Garry, the online hate simply doesn't represent reality. He believes social media creates a completely different picture of how people actually feel about him. Garry pointed out that he has traveled to several different places, including Philadelphia, Dublin, Brazil, and England. Despite the amount of criticism he sees online, he says he has never experienced that same hostility face-to-face. He explained that whenever he walks down the street, people are generally happy to see him. Instead of insults or confrontation, he claims he's met with support, appreciation, and positive reactions. Garry's argument is basically that people are much braver behind a screen. Online, someone can easily make a joke, criticize a fighter, or send hateful comments without having to deal with the person directly. But when that same fighter is standing right in front of them, the situation can be completely different. And Garry says he's seen that difference firsthand. He also made it clear that he doesn't believe the online criticism reflects what people genuinely think about him. From his perspective, social media can exaggerate negativity because the loudest comments often receive the most attention. Of course, Garry has become one of the more polarizing personalities in the UFC. His confidence, outspoken personality, and constant presence online have made him an easy target for criticism. But whether fans love him or can't stand him, there's no denying that he knows how to generate attention. Interestingly, the comments also suggest that Garry may not be nearly as bothered by the criticism as some people assume. Say whatever you want about him, but if the online hate actually gets under his skin, he's doing a pretty damn good job of hiding it. For now, Garry continues to focus on his career while insisting that the negativity surrounding him online is mostly just noise that doesn't match what he experiences in the real world. Move on to another news. The predictions are coming in for the highly anticipated matchup between Islam Makhachev and Garry, and several well-known UFC veterans are all leaning in the same direction. On a recent episode of Deep Waters, the panel was asked to give their prediction for the fight, and the entire group picked Islam to get the victory. The panel included Din Thomas, Jorge Masvidal, Dustin Poirier, and Chris Weidman. And despite their different backgrounds and experiences inside the UFC, they all came to the same conclusion. That kind of unanimous prediction immediately stands out. Islam has established himself as one of the most dominant fighters in the sport, and many analysts believe his combination of wrestling, control, pressure, and improving striking could create serious problems for Garry. However, Ian is not entering this matchup without his own advantages. His size, reach, movement, distance management, and ability to fight intelligently from range could make things extremely difficult for Islam. That's why the matchup has generated so much discussion. On paper, Islam appears to have the tools to control where the fight takes place, especially if he can close the distance and get Garry to the canvas. Once Islam gets into his rhythm, his ability to maintain pressure and dictate positions can become extremely difficult for opponents to deal with. But Garry has shown that he can remain composed under pressure, and his confidence continues to grow with every fight. The big question surrounding this matchup is whether Garry can keep the fight standing long enough to force Islam into a striking battle. If he can maintain distance, avoid being trapped against the cage, and consistently land from the outside, he could potentially make the fight much more competitive than the predictions suggest. And even though the entire Deep Waters panel picked Islam, that doesn't mean an upset is impossible. This year has already produced some crazy results, with several fights ending in ways that few people predicted beforehand. That's why completely counting Garry out could be a mistake. Islam may be the clear favorite for many analysts, but Ian has the skills, physical advantages, and confidence to make this a fascinating matchup. For now, Din Thomas, Jorge Masvidal, Dustin Poirier, and Chris Weidman are all backing Islam to win, while Garry will have the opportunity to prove the entire panel wrong when he finally steps into the cage. Move on to another news. Conor has provided another update following his recent surgery, giving fans a glimpse into his recovery and showing that he is already focused on getting back to normal. The former UFC champion took to social media to share a video documenting his condition just 5 days after undergoing surgery. While the footage was brief, the message behind it was clear. Conor is already looking at the situation with his usual confidence and determination. In the video, he appeared to highlight the significance of the moment, saying, "That's what setting records looks like." He repeated the statement again, emphasizing that this is what setting records looks like, before making it clear that the footage was taken on day 5 after his surgery. That detail is important because recovering from surgery is never an easy process, especially for a professional fighter whose body has been through years of intense training and competition. For Conor, the recovery period will be another test of patience and discipline. Fighters at the highest level are used to training constantly, preparing for opponents and pushing their physical limits. Being forced to slow down after surgery can be frustrating, but the recovery process is necessary if he wants to return at full strength. The update also gives fans a small look at how Conor is handling the situation. Rather than staying completely silent, he is keeping supporters updated through social media and showing parts of his recovery. Of course, one short video does not reveal the entire condition of his recovery, and there is still a long road ahead. The most important thing right now is allowing his body enough time to heal properly before thinking about a return to competition. Conor has remained one of the biggest names in combat sports, and every update surrounding his health immediately attracts attention from fans around the world. His latest post is another indication that he is actively monitoring his recovery and documenting the process along the way. The fact that he is already talking about records only 5 days after surgery also shows the mindset that has helped define his career. Whether it's training, competition, or recovery, Conor continues to carry himself with the confidence that he can overcome another obstacle. For now, the focus is on healing, rehabilitation, and making sure he returns safely. Day 5 is only the beginning, but Conor is already letting everyone know that he is keeping his eyes on the future and continuing to move forward. Move on to another news. Islam Makhachev has shared his thoughts on Ilia's future and made it clear that he believes the former champion has what it takes to become a champion again. Islam recently spoke with Demetrius Johnson and was asked how he thinks Ilia can bounce back from his latest setback and what could happen next in his career. Islam's response was extremely positive. He explained that Ilia is still young and has plenty of time to recover, improve, and make another run toward the top. Rather than suggesting that one difficult fight could permanently change Ilia's career, Islam believes this could simply become another chapter in his journey. According to Islam, Ilia has already shown that he is an extremely talented fighter. He specifically pointed to Ilia's punching ability, wrestling, and overall ground skills as some of the biggest strengths that make him such a dangerous competitor. Islam believes that if Ilia can return to training with the right mindset and completely refocus on his goals, there is a real possibility that he could eventually regain championship status. That is a major statement coming from Islam, especially because he knows exactly what it takes to reach the top of the sport and remain there. For Ilia, the challenge now is about how he responds. Losing can completely change a fighter's career, but it can also become the motivation needed for an even stronger comeback. Islam also acknowledged that a major fight can change a life, but the direction that change takes isn't always obvious immediately. A loss can lead to frustration, but it can also force a fighter to make adjustments, learn from mistakes, and return with an entirely different approach. Ilia has already proven that he belongs among the elite. His speed, power, striking, wrestling, and confidence have made him one of the most dangerous names in the sport. Now, the question surrounding his career is how he responds to adversity. Islam clearly believes Ilia has the tools to make that comeback. He sees a fighter who is still young, still talented, and still capable of reaching the highest level again. If Ilia stays focused, continues developing his skills, and uses this experience as motivation rather than allowing it to define him, Islam believes another championship run could be possible. For now, Ilia's future remains uncertain, but one thing is clear: Islam Makhachev still sees the potential for Ilia to become a champion again. Move on to another news. Garry has made a bold claim ahead of his highly anticipated matchup with Islam Makhachev, saying he believes he has faced tougher competition over his last 5 fights. Speaking with Brett Okamoto of ESPN MMA ahead of UFC 330, Garry compared his recent opponents with Islam's last 5 opponents and argued that his own run has been significantly more difficult. According to Garry, his recent opponents include Belal Muhammad, Shavkat Rakhmonov, Carlos Prates, and MVP, and he believes all 4 are among the most dangerous and difficult fighters in the world. Garry emphasized that each of these opponents presented a serious threat in completely different areas. He also pointed out that they were bigger, longer, and naturally closer to his own size. When comparing those names to Islam's recent opponents, Garry mentioned JDM, Renato Moicano, Dustin Poirier, and Alexander Volkanovski. Garry acknowledged that Poirier and Volkanovski are legends of the sport, but he doesn't believe they were as dangerous as the fighters he recently faced. He also highlighted the records his opponents had when they fought him. Shavkat was undefeated at 18-0 and had an impressive finishing record, while Carlos Prates entered their fight riding an 11-fight winning streak built around knockouts. For Garry, those numbers prove that he has consistently been competing against fighters who can finish fights and create danger from anywhere. He believes his recent schedule has prepared him for the biggest challenge of his career, and now he wants to prove that preparation inside the Octagon. Garry isn't simply saying he has faced tough opponents. He's using that experience as confidence heading into his fight with Islam. He believes his level of competition has prepared him for the pressure. And when he finally steps into the cage against Islam, Garry says he intends to show the world exactly why he believes he is truly great.